not to get rid of humans, that we know 60 to 70% of all calls coming into pest and lawn business are scheduling their billing, right? And those are generally very mundane tasks. Then your humans can really specialize their skills and talents on those really important calls, right? That needs human reasoning, need people, empathy, passion, right?
Hello and welcome out to another episode of the PNP Industry Insider Podcast. We take a look at what is changing in the pest and lawn industries, and we take you to the front lines to those that are driving those changes. I'm Donnie Shelton, owner of Triangle Home Services, which has Triangle Pest as well as Triangle Lawn. And with me, fresh off of a sabbatical in numbers, Mr. Dan Gordon. Dan, would you like to say good morning? By the way, I didn't make that up at all. So, Dan, would you like to go ahead and do your normal stuff? So, yourself,
Before I do,
our topic,
Stan Gordon from PCO Bookkeepers, CFO Services, Exit Planning, and what sabbatical was I on?
He's got to look that word up. All right, keep going.
All right. Oh, because it's after tax season. I got you. All right, here we go. Anyway, okay, let's talk about today we have Raymond Kidwell, Director of Business Development for Voice for Pest. We've had him on not too long ago, but things are changing so quickly in the industry. And he's got a bunch of new and improved stuff that we're going to talk about today because Donnie is such a geek with this AI stuff. So he had to get right back. And before we introduce Raymond formally, let's talk about our sponsors. So if you're interested in marketing for the pest and lawn industries, we highly recommend Coalmarch. Their reporting ties directly into PestPack and Real Green, so you can see exactly how your marketing is doing for you. If you head over to coalmarch.com/podcast and fill out your form, you'll get a free month. And for over 40 years, PestSure, the leading insurance company in the industry, has been protecting pest control companies with specialized insurance and safety programs because no one understands the industry better. Learn more at pestsure.com. And I'm going to go out of order because I want to save the guest for last.
The guest for last. I like it. A little play on words.
Yes.
By the way, try the veal. He'll be here all week if you're listening. So keep going.
Veal? Okay. All right.
Or the fish. Or the fish.
Or the fish.
So Forshaw, leading family-owned operator and distributor, serving pest management professionals since 1961, focus on people, partners, performance, and that inspired Foresight, which is a pretty cool inventory management system. We have lots of clients who are using it, and it's, as accountants, it's pretty cool stuff. It's built to bring clarity, inventory control, and smarter operations and decisions. Learn more at forshaw.com. And coincidentally, the final sponsor that I'm going to mention is Voice for Pest, delivering only phone solutions designed specifically for pest and lawn care professionals. Form powerful AI features to, I'm sorry.
You screwed mine up. You did all the other ones perfectly.
From powerful AI features to deep integrations with most industry CRMs, discover why leading companies rely on it every day. And as we said, our special guest is Raymond Kidwell. And so we're going to talk to him today. Oops, I forgot the peer groups.
You did forget the peer groups. I was going to give you feedback, but you got it.
Joining a PMP industry peer group facilitated by industry veteran David Billingsley, please visit pmpinsider.com/peer groups or go back and listen to episode 238 with Caleb Cunningham, where he talks about our what it's like to be a member of one. And so that this forces us to push ahead with our plans for our December conference, the PMP Industry Insider Conference.
The Insider Conference, yes. Yes, it is happening. It's official. It's going to go down.
We're going to have the dates any day now just to make sure that we've got dates in our minds. We're picking a venue and we just have to make sure that those dates are available.
Signing contracts and putting money down, making it happen.
That's exciting.
So, yeah, it'll be good.
Is there
good? And we fully expect our sponsors to be there, and it's going to be a great time. And listen, I've heard Dan gets pretty wild at parties, so we'll,
Yeah. I
Yes,
can't
anything,
talk about all the stuff Dan's done.
right?
He's
yes, I do get really wild at
yeah.
parties. So, watch out. All right. So let's see. Raymond is a veteran of the pest control industry and today serves as business development for Voice for Pest, one of our sponsors. So you've previously heard him in episodes 191, 224, and 253. Today, we're going to dive further into the growth of AI voice agents because Donnie's such a geek and he wanted to have him back.
I actually do want to talk about this because it
Yes.
is something that's changing
It's very
dramatically.
cool
And
and it's changing quickly, really quick.
yes, yeah.
So anyway, let's get started. Donnie,
Yeah, I'll get started. So last time, Raymond, we had you on, we spent a ton of time talking about X-ray. We spent a ton of time talking about data and integration and how AI can analyze that data and help you with some of your integration, as far as not just integration, but also helping like translate what's happening on the phone to what's happening in the CRM and back. But today, we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to talk about something that I am super excited about, and that is AI voice agents, or lack thereof, which I think you're probably going to help us out there. But I have, for me personally, I have been very, even as I would say someone who very much embraces technology, this has been one that I have been very cautious to adopt just because of how fast it could come off the rails. And so it's, for those that are not familiar, let's just start the conversation with defining what is meant when someone says an AI voice agent, and then how that is different from, say, a traditional CSR.
Okay. Excuse me. Well, thanks for having me on. I feel like I'm like one of those Saturday Night Live guests. Once I get to number five, I guess I get a plaque or something. I'm hoping. But anyway, thanks for having me back on. And our sponsorship has nothing to do
yes.
with my appearances, of course. But to answer your question, AI voice agent is what it sounds like, but it's utilizing AI to take calls and process calls, much like compared to like the old IVRs, right? Or the old, auto attendants where you would go in and, it started off, you press one, press two, but then they have the ones that talk, right? But the difference between like a talking IVR and an AI voice agent, it actually can interact and it can understand. And depending on which voice agent you're using or going to use, and I have one I recommend, of course, they're gonna be able to do things in the CRM. They're gonna be able to do what humans do when they process calls. Prior to AI voice agents, it was all just basically call routing. Right. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? Do you want to press this, press that, or say this, whatever? But now it can actually do things, and that's why it's going to have such a profound impact on the industry, well, not the world, but because I think we're going to find that you're going to end up with. I think most companies have some type of AI voice agent doing something, but then not to get rid of humans, but then your humans can really specialize their skills and talents on those really important calls, right? That needs human reasoning, people, empathy, compassion, right? But as as AI gets better and better, I mean, I think it's going to be, there's going to be a day where AI is just not going to make mistakes. It's never going to take a day off. You don't have to give it a birthday cake, I mean, it's just going to get
No
smarter.
health insurance, no retirement
Health
benefit.
I
insurance.
don't
And,
know. You know what? I find myself treating AI like people sometimes. Only problem is I treat them in a bad way. Is like I threaten them that I'm going to replace them with another AI, and then they typically give bad answers. But that's
that's
another
Is that
funny.
story.
true?
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
100%. If
So wait,
you,
but before we start in with this, Donnie, explain, are all AI agents voice agents or like, I know that, okay, explain some of that technology from your understanding.
well, I, for me, first of all, I'm not going to explain. So I'm going to have Raymond do it. But there's obviously folks that, I mean, there's agents that can do text, right, and
Mhm.
texting, and there's this whole texting conversation. And by the way, I am a fan of that. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of voice. I've just been slow to adopt this, mainly because I've been, the technology has been great or I should say it's been good. It hasn't been great, meaning that I've always been concerned. Like, plus the other thing I have a question about, and Raymond, maybe you could just answer this, which is, I'm curious to hear customer reception of an AI agent. What are companies doing? Are they like, if someone calls in and says, "Hey, I'm Donnie, I'm an AI agent, would love to
Right.
help you." Like, are customers really connecting with that? Or they're just like, because I know for me, a lot of times when I hear that, I'm like, I'm moving on. This is gonna be a waste of time. You know how it is that you try something once and it doesn't work, and you're just like, okay.
Right.
That's why everyone's all looking for zero or a real agent when they go through the phone trees.
Yep. Human being, 0 pounds,
Right,
zero
right,
pound. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So, I mean, what are you seeing as far as adoption? And then we'll get back to Dan's question about the differences between texting and
Okay.
voice.
No, that's a really good question. So the what we're seeing now is a lot of the companies that are using AI voice agents are using them for like overflow after hours, right? Traditionally, you would have an answering service, and there's some excellent answering services out there, but there's also some that aren't that good. Or you can send it to voicemail, right? And the problem with voicemail is you don't know who. Both with answering services and voicemail, a lot of times callers don't want to deal with that. Like they'll just hang up, right? So you lose that call, and you don't really know what you're missing because they called in after hours. So that's where the first wave of deployment we're seeing is after hours or overflow. Like if you have 5 human beings answering the phone and they're all busy and the caller's sitting there waiting for 2 minutes, then you can overflow it, and then AI can take the call and say, hey, what can I help you with? And they're to your point, there has been just a fundamental shift in AI technology. Not that I'm an expert, but just in the 2 to 3 years. I mean, I remember going to a conference a couple of years ago. It's a like a big conference for phone systems and stuff. And if you wanted your own AI agent, it was like $100,000. I mean, but now you can, they're all over the place. You can pretty much build your own. It may not be as good as the other ones, but you can build your own. There's so many platforms like Vappy and all that stuff out there now. So, but that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, overflow calls. More and more, though, what I'm hearing from our customers and prospects and people I just, meet, here and there, is they want the voice capability. They want those voice agents to be able to do things that CSRs do now. And not to replace, the people, but just to handle, like we know 60 to 70% of all calls coming into pest and lawn businesses are scheduling their billing. Right. And those are generally very mundane tasks. And I think we've talked about that before. So if you can get your AI agent to do those mundane tasks, then your humans can do a lot more. And then, to your point real quick about, bad experience. Right. So we've all had those bad experiences. But what I'm seeing is I think most people are willing to work with an AI voice agent as long as the most important thing, as long as they can easily not do it if they don't want to. And that's where a lot of these companies are making mistakes. They're saying, like, I'm Raymond, I'm your virtual assistant or whatever. And then you can't get away from it. That's where you're from a screaming pound. So one thing that we do is we make it very clear and very easy that this is an AI agent. If you want to go bypass it, press 1 or so, whatever. And it gives the person that doesn't want to deal with it the option to not deal with it. And then the ones that do will. And the better the agents get, and the more they can do efficiently, then I think it's not a matter of if. I mean, people are going to adopt it. They're going to use it.
So your
They're already
agent
using
will
it.
get
Yeah.
on and say, I am an AI agent. If you don't want to talk to me, press 1.
They certainly can, and that's kind of we recommend giving the caller that option, but ultimately it's up to the customer. But I feel like that's the best way to get people to adapt to it and use it, because initially they might be, I don't want to deal with that, but then after, and they're pretty good. I mean they have a sense of
Yeah, the ones that
humor.
I've seen
Yeah,
are
you can
just
joke
fine.
around with them. You can threaten them, like Donnie said. It's you can do a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, that's where we're seeing them,
Management by
Donnie.
coercion. I like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's back up just a bit, because when we talk about agents, and we're specifically talking about voice agents this episode, but there's really two pieces, right? There's interacting with the customer, answering questions, concerns, those types of things. Then there's doing things for the company, right? And
Right.
those are two different, very, very different
Very,
tasks.
very different.
Right.
Yes.
So I want to talk through a little bit about, someone calls in. I like your idea about upfront ham and AI voice agent. I'm going to assume that at that point they have several options. Let's say it's after hours, and I'm going to get back to this next other question. It's after hours. Hey, I'm Donnie or Dan, an AI voice agent, and I can help you with basic things. If at any time, you want to go to voicemail, just press 0. Is that an option? Like, can you set that up so that you could
You can
just be
set
like,
that up, sure. Yeah.
okay, so you could basically say, we're going to start this. If you start getting frustrated, we're closed currently, so you can leave a voicemail, but otherwise we're going to try to solve the problem. Is that is
That's
that
pretty
doable?
accurate. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So now let's bring it back around to the difference between, answering concerns, questions, and those types of things versus doing things in the software. I'm assuming the agent has a list of tasks that are approved and a list of tasks of where it has to say, I can't do this. So an example would be like, can an AI agent take a credit card and process a payment? Is that possible? I'm assuming scheduling, like you said, is probably something that. So let's talk about those tasks that they can do. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure you probably have different levels depending on what CRM they're in, would be my guess.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sure all the APIs are different and this starts getting complicated. And I don't want to put
Yeah.
you on the spot here, but
No, it's
let's talk
okay.
about the commons, right? Let's like what is a realistic expectation? Hey, I want to have an AI agent. I want it to run after hours. I want it to run overflow. What should be some expectations as an owner I should expect this agent to do?
Well, I think what you started off with is, it's basically a very high level auto attendant, right? It's, if it's after hours, and they should be able to they should be able to understand the customer, like and understand their customer, be familiar enough with them to have a conversation with them that makes sense, right? But to your point, usually if it's after hours, they're, hey, I can, somebody calls and I've got roaches running around my kitchen. It's 11 o'clock at night. Okay, well, I understand how, it's hard to hear that, be empathetic, right? Like a human would be, hopefully. And then it just says, okay, I'm going to get, I will make sure that the office gets this message, and if somebody will be back with you the first thing, the first thing in the morning or something. And then that's where it kind of not breaks, but changes. Like and I'm just going to give a couple of shameless plugs, but, I think everybody's has heard me talk, knows that, our partner X-Ray has these, an amazing AI platform called X-Ray. And then they're developing some really amazing, and I use that a lot, AI agents. And the difference is when you talk about those kind of mundane, regular stuff, they can all pretty much do that. And some are better than others. They can talk better, they get better understanding. But the big difference with the X-Ray platform, and I'm not as familiar with some of the others, but is the AI calls actually go right into an action hub. Right. So you don't have to rely on reading voicemails the next morning or all that. You just go in there and it makes a case for every single conversation your AI. So if it's after hours and it took 10 calls, you're going to have 10 cases, and you can go and open it. You can listen to the call. You can assign it to somebody. And it just makes it much easier to work with the AI side of it, where some other platforms, it's over here, right? So you got to log in over here. And there are some basic integrations, but I think what you're going to see, the difference ultimately, when you get to that level where you're talking about, you want it to do what people can do, that's where the quality of the X-Ray agents and the ability to integrate with us with these CRMs is just it's going to be hard for anybody to hang in there. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's other competitors out there, and they have good agents, and they're working on it. But I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, there's going to be a clear difference in the functionality and what it can do, because it's tool calls. That's what it's called, right? The AI goes in, it has to use the API, like you said, and goes in and tells the system to do this and do that and do this. And that's going to be the difference ultimately.
So Donnie just brought up an interesting one, and I wasn't sure if you'd get to it, but I want to make sure that you do. I call up and say, "Hey, I just got a bill in the mail. I want to pay my bill." Can the AI agent take the credit card and process it, and
I would
PCI?
not right now. I don't know of anybody that can do that right now. I mean, at least in our vertical, right? Well, in Pest, I mean, if there is one, I'm not aware of it. That's a very complex problem. You have
Right.
PC,
No, it sounds like
you have, and you have
privacy,
PCI
everything.
compliancy, right? You have recordings and credit card data,
Yep.
and so that's I think going to be the biggest hurdle. But what they can do is they, like with ours, we can send them a text. Hey, I can send you a text message, or I can send you an email that has a link, so you can just go make a payment through a secure payment site, right?
Ah,
So it doesn't actually have to take the credit card and do
okay.
all that.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can connect the caller to the way
To the website.
But ultimately, eventually, that AI agent, at least the ones X-Ray developing, is going to be able to go in there and take that credit card payment. I mean, I don't have a timeline. I'm under caution of death if I ever give a timeline. But at some point, I mean, I think it's not going to be. It's just going to have to happen. AI is just going to keep evolving, and it's just going to get better and better. And when you have the industry specific relationships with CRMs and customers and stuff, it's going to be a big difference ultimately.
So let's go back to common tasks that it can do right now.
Okay.
So we obviously know that credit cards are off. I love the idea about, hey, I'm going to text you a link, or hey, I'm going to send you an email. I can't take credit card data. It's against my rules or whatever. That all makes sense to me. Now let's go to another scenario. I want to schedule service. I need to schedule a callback. Are we there now where that because you said something that was pretty interesting, which is it creates a case. You can listen to the call. Does it
Read the
also say
transcript.
this is what
Yeah.
I did? As
Yeah.
an agent, this is what
It
I did.
summarizes it. Yeah. It gives you a summary. Yeah.
So what are some common tasks that are like available, ready? Like mission ready right now. Like if you launch an agent, here's some common things that it could do.
Okay, so that's a very good question. And so what happened was, we actually had an agent, it's called a dispatch agent. We have a receptionist agent, what you're talking about. It takes calls. It doesn't really integrate into a system other than the phone system, because we integrate it into the phone system, which makes a big difference. But it was actually X-Ray Labs, our partner. They actually developed a dispatch agent to go into the three big CRMs, Pest, Pack, Field Routes at Real Green, and actually schedule. The challenge was that they developed it and it did it. And we have videos of it doing it, right? But when they went to deploy it with the customers like, wait a minute, that's not how we schedule. And they're like, what do you mean? This is the way the agent does it. Well, no, the agent has to do it the way we do it. We're not going to change our entire company processes for an AI agent. So then our partners are very smart, said, you know what, time out. We're going to stop and we're going to really develop this thing, because it needs to be flexible enough to do like, however, and everybody knows pest control companies, they all do the same thing in a different way, right? So the agent has to be smart enough and flexible enough to schedule in a different way. And that's, if you think about that from an AI perspective, that's pretty darn complicated, right? I mean, it has to know, okay, if Triangle's my customer and they're using PestPack, for example, this is how I have to schedule for them. Right. But then if it's, somebody else and they're using, I have to schedule differently. And it's a complex thing, but we're working with companies right now, and they're fine tuning that ability. And that's why I said, I think at the end of the day, down the road, you're going to have a CSR agent that's going to do all those things.
One of the beauties of industry CRMs, Pest, Pack, Field Routes, is they're flexible. One of the
right.
frustrating things is that they're flexible.
Right.
So you just said that Donnie, if he's using PestPack, could say, okay, well, I do it this way. And then if I had a company, I could say, I use PestPack and I do it a different way. So everybody's going to be customized.
That's why we paused it. I mean, we had them out there. Like I said, we had them. We had customers using them. We have video, but the RA partner X-Ray, they paused it. So wait a minute, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we're going to deliver a product that everybody can use and will be happy with. And so that's where we're at now. They're going to that deeper level, and yes, that's the ultimate goal. Is that it's going to be flexible enough and smart enough to understand how this specific customer schedule. Now, I mean, there's going to be some limitations. I mean, if somebody does something just completely against the way the CRM was designed to work, that might be a challenge, right? But to your point, Donnie's company, I guarantee you, schedules differently than a lot of other companies. It's just the nature of the beast, and a lot of times the way the companies develop their, services, and they add in bundles and they do all this stuff. And like our agent is smart enough to know if somebody calls in and says, hey, I have rats. Our agent's smart enough to know that, sorry, the plan you're on doesn't cover rats, right? Mm-hmm. And that capability we have. But again, if you think about that level of complexity in an AI agent, That's pretty impressive, and it takes some work to get there. But for it to be able to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not covered for that pest. I'm going to have somebody contact you or whatever."
And it
That's
spelled the rat job on
it,
there?
well, it's not yet, but it's coming. I mean, I'm telling you, I think where we're going to end up is that you're not going to have a voice scheduling agent, not going to have a voice payment agent or voice. You're going to have a CSR agent ultimately that can take a call and you can utilize just like a human. If you want to specialize, if you want to have more than one, let's say you have a lot of calls. Donnie's got a big company. You can have one doing just billing stuff. You have one, but that flexibility is going to be there for the customer to choose. And AI agents can take more than one call at a time. Right? That's the other thing. So when we set ours up in the phone system, they can get 5 calls simultaneously per extension. We can give them as many as they need. So that's the other thing is, AI can take 5 calls at the same time and process them and work with them and handle them and do everything that's doing all at the same time. So that's there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So you can understand why it really takes a little while to get really, really finely tuned and well honed. And that's where AI is going to have to be to stay competitive. And there's a lot of AI agents out there right now that are kind of known in the industry, good people, good companies. But I think there's just going to be a clear divide if once it gets it figured out where they can really do the things the way you want it done.
So I want to dig into this even more. So I apologize. It's a little bit off script, but you got my brain going now. So I want to. So in the office, there's basic functions. There's admin, your kind of traditional CSR. There's finance, which is taking payments, processing, billing issues, those types of things. And then there's selling. There's inbound selling, and then there's outbound selling. So let's go to the scenario. So what we've talked about so far, we've talked about taking payments. What are the options there? We've talked about scheduling, which it sounds like we're going to take a message and we're not really going to schedule quite yet. We're going to make a case and pass this on to a human, and a human's going to do that.
For now. Yeah.
Let's go to the scenario where it's during hours. It's overflow. Phones are crazy. I've got a call back. Okay, yep. Because what I always tell people is when sales are crazy, so are callbacks. I mean, it's all it is activities going, right? I mean, we're going to get both. We're going to get a lot of sales. We're going to get a lot of callbacks. That's just the nature of the beast. Yeah. So let's take those two scenarios. Can an agent take a sale all the way from I've got issues with ants to selling it, scheduling it, which sounds, I don't know if they'll be able to schedule. Like, let's walk through the inbound scenario, and then let's also walk through the callback scenario.
Okay, so there are agents. I know there's an agent that kind of works with franchises specifically, and so there's a franchise specific CRM out there that does some pretty cool stuff, and they've developed the ability for that agent to take the call, a voice agent to take the call and actually go in and do that, like you take a payment. No, not take a payment. Sorry, give them a price. Complete it. Maybe send them something. An email that says, "Okay, you're signed up," and actually go all the way, because you got to remember you're talking about these different departments, and when you got a big company like that, you've to your credit, that you developed from by yourself. Not you have all these different departments. Most pest control companies aren't big companies, right? They might have 1 or 2 people in the office. A lot of them don't have anybody in the office. So these agents are going to have to be able to do what the humans can do. I mean, at some point, because that's why what we're seeing with a lot of the smaller companies is they're starting off with this receptionist agent that can, just to your point, can take overflow calls, can handle those calls, because the alternative is they never get a chance to talk to them. If it's a lead, they never get a chance to close it. If it's a customer and the customer gets frustrated after waiting for 3 minutes and hangs up, then you got an unhappy customer. So that's where it's starting. But then you're going to get to the point where it can do all that. Yes, take the sale, make outbound calls. There's outbound collection agents right now. You can make calls, and again do basic things. But I think where we're seeing it now is the AI voice agents are really making sure that the calls get answered by the company. That's the number one thing. That's the biggest impact, is not having abandoned calls where somebody calls in and just hangs up. They got tired of waiting, or a missed call that you send them under a voicemail at 11 o'clock at night. They just don't leave a voicemail, right? They go to the next Google search, whatever. So that's the biggest impact now. It's able to make sure that when somebody calls your company, that call is going to get answered, and it's going to get processed, and it's going to get heard, right? And that's where it is now, and that's a big feature for a lot of companies, especially smaller ones. And then it's just going to keep developing.
So let's talk through, as a customer, okay, the value add here is that my call is going to get answered.
Right.
But I want to manage that, right? Because if you answer it and take me off, that's not any better than not answering at all.
That might even be worse.
So
Yeah.
if you're just taking a message,
Right.
what's the
Right. I
difference
mean,
between
if you're
missing a
answering, you're
message?
answering and I'm just having to repeat myself or like you're not
Yeah.
getting what I'm saying or whatever. I mean, I'm going to move on anyway. But let's go back to the
Right.
scenario
Right.
of like it's in the heat of battle. It's 11:30 on a Monday morning. I'm trying to get stuff knocked off my to-do list. I call all heck's breaking loose at that company. Now I go into overflow. Now the agent takes my call.
Right.
What can it legitimately do from there currently? Now, I realize when people may be listening to this a year from now, and this is going to be totally different. We're
Yeah.
recording this on April 27th, 2026, right? Just to be
Yeah.
clear. And it could be
Yeah.
different even next week, right? But
And yeah,
like,
it's going to be different in a month. I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the realistic expectations now? Hey, I hear you. I'm going to take this message. Someone will call you. Like, are there things that people are doing to make sure that the customer has a very first class experience that they know that? Because I mean, that's why people don't leave voicemails because no one ever calls them back, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
maybe walk us through that.
Yeah, well, and again, I can speak to the X-ray AI agents, and what's nice about those is those are combined with the X-ray call analysis platform. So it's taking those two and putting them together. And as you know, Donnie, the X-ray platform isn't just call analysis; it's business analysis, right? It tells you what's going on in every department of your company, unhappy customers. It gives you a very easy way to track them. So it does a lot of those things specifically for the product that we offer, right? Which is better than anybody else, in my opinion, of course. But to your point, what's happening or what happened when AI agents first hit the voice agents first hit the industry, and they've been out there for a little while, is people had bad experiences and they couldn't get away from it, and the companies didn't know, so that they started getting complaints. And so they would just say, "Oh, well, I can't have this AI agent messing up my customers," so they just cancel it, right? They scrap it. So that's one of the benefits of having an AI agent part of your phone system as an extension. You can act, our customers can actually listen to the AI agent talking live like they can a human. It can score it. It gets scored just like a human. How's it doing on the script? You can run reports. I mean, so with much more visibility to make sure, to your point, Donnie, that the callers are having a positive experience, right? Because that's the worst thing is you leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth because you're using an AI agent that doesn't understand them, doesn't perform well, or like you said, there's no tracking. It talks to them at 11 o'clock at night, and then they never hear from anybody the next day. And then they call back mad, right? Yeah, I left, so we have a very good process to make sure that information flows smoothly. I'm sure the other competitors out there, but as far as their limited integrations with CRMs and stuff, I think a lot of that is still kind of, you have to go over here to see what your voice agents are doing, right? You have to go to this other platform. You have to run this report over here, and it's not all tied together. And what we're seeing more and more and more is everybody wants one screen. Everybody's tired of email over here, right? Phone system over here, my CRM over here. And nobody wants all that anymore. They want that one view, and they want everything right there. And that's where X-ray is. But that's where everybody's going to have to be if they want to stay competitive.
So let me ask you a question, Donnie. You confirm this. There are AI agents that will do scheduling, right? We've talked to people who do that. Does the phone AI agent pass, or can it pass the call to the scheduling AI agent that can?
I
Yes,
don't think they call the task, right?
the task, yeah, they don't
Right.
transfer, but that's the thing. If you're I think ultimately, like I mentioned, you're going to end up with a CSR agent that can do all of these different things. So the person calls in and says, I want to make a payment. Okay, I can help you. I'm Raymond, right? Oh, I want to schedule. Okay, it's the same, but to your point, if they want to have specialized, yes, you can have more than one type, and our AI agents can actually transfer the call to
See,
live people
I think on
and
the
to each
credit
other.
card thing, the solution that you suggested is even better than the AI agent taking the card. Okay,
Yeah,
you want to do that? I'm going to text you a place
yeah,
where you can do it, and that way, all the privacy, all the PCI compliance is intact and everything, and you're not doing that. I think that that's an
right,
outstanding.
right. Well, and what we're like, my boss Tom went to a conference a week or two ago, and they had some attorneys on a panel, and where it looks like it's going from, because remember, it takes a while for the government to catch up. Those of us old enough to remember when the internet started, right? You didn't pay sales tax for a while. It took them a while to figure out that we were buying stuff and not paying tax for it, but eventually they caught up. So the government's going to catch up with all this AI voice stuff, and where these attorneys feel it's going, which makes a lot of sense, is you're going to have certain limitations. You have to be able to transfer that caller to a human being, right? You have to give the caller that option. I think that's going to be a legal issue. And then they're already saying,
like, 11 o'clock at night.
I mean, if it's after hours, it's after hours. But if somebody calls in during business hours and they want to talk to a person, that AI agent, that company's AI agent, is going to have to be able to make that happen. And I think that's going to be illegal. What it's looking like, that's going to be a legal issue. The other one is you have to make sure all this data that's out there, so a lot of times you'll hear somebody say this call may be recorded for quality control, right? Well, you're going to have a whole separate disclaimer for AI, right? Because it's being processed by it, and they have this big disclaimer they are already recommending callers use, but it's a long one. But I think that's going to be commonplace, and I think it's going to be the FCC and everybody else is going to get on this and start protecting consumers, right? By making sure that consumers can get a good quality experience with AI or without it, because not everybody wants to. And so I think that's where you're going to end up. It's not there yet, but I think that's another thing to people to consider. Ultimately, there's going to be some legal ramifications with these AI voices.
Like the drug commercials where they talk about the drug for 15
minutes. Give you SMA. It could give you whatever. And Dan, I'll let you figure out what SMA means. But I'll start with the first two is screaming monkey. So if you're taking the drug, so I'll let you finish out the last. But all right, I'm looking at the time. I cannot believe that we're almost at the end here. So here's what I want to do. And I'm going to give you a chance to do a shameless plug. I don't really care. Okay, I'm listening to this podcast.
You're doing it the whole time. Come on.
I'm listening to this podcast.
Maybe three.
And I don't have any of this, right? What should I do and how should I start? And what are some things that I should be wary of? And what are some easy wins out the gate if I want to kind of get started doing this?
That's a great question. That does. It makes perfect sense. And I actually we had a presentation at South Carolina Pest Summit that we talked about this. The thing is you have to make sure that however you're going to use this AI voice agent or any AI for whatever it is in your company, that it fits your company personality and profile and the way you do things, right? Because if your company does things A, B, C, D, and you get a voice agent that does things F, G, I, it's not going to work. It's not going to fit. And most people aren't willing or in a position to completely transform how their company runs to fit an AI voice agent. It has to be the other way around, like we talked about. So first of all, consider where you want to use it, have a plan for using it, and make it a real plan and understand the impact it's going to have, and then deploy it and make sure you're keeping an eye on it, right? But don't just go sign up for an AI voice agent because that's what everybody's doing. Ultimately, everybody will, but I think the vast majority will. And I'm saying, who knows how far down the road, but it's just going to be so commonplace. But to me, that's the biggest thing. Like any other change you make, new phone system, new CRM, new vehicles, new fleet management software, whatever it is, you got to plan it. You got to make sure it's going to make sense in the way your company operates and the processes you have. And then shop around. Ours is we have the best one out there, but there's a lot out there, and you don't have to sign a contract. There's no setup fee. I mean, but just shop around. Keep us honest. Compare a couple different ones, and then if you feel good about one and it's going to fit your company and the price is right and everything else, then just try not to get one you have to sign a long-term contract for, because
And in order to use your agent, I'm assuming you got to be on Voice for Pest. Is that right? And you've got to.
Well, yes. Currently, I think where the technology is going to take us, and again, this is we weren't even talking about voice agents 3 years ago. I mean, in reality, they were there, but not really. I think ultimately that's where you're going to end up.
Yeah. All righty, Dan. Anything else before we finish out here? We're over time. I can't believe it. Man, that burned by really fast.
Yeah, that was really pretty cool. So. Basically, we don't need any more employees. We don't have to have benefits. We don't have.
I wish it was that far along, but
we'll stay in bed all day and watch a screen. Everything happens.
That's right. That's right.
You guys remember the movie Wall-E? It's a Disney movie. Came
That's
out.
exactly what I was just thinking of.
That's how we're going to end up. I won't be around,
I'm thinking
but everybody's
World,
going to
Westworld. I'm
big
thinking
and
Westworld.
yeah, big and fat, floating around on a thing with a tablet stuck in front of their face. For those that remember that movie,
Oh,
because
gosh.
that's my concern. Is like, eventually, what are humans going to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, AI is going to be able to cut down trees eventually. I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, thanks
Yeah.
for having me. Sorry, I tend to ramble, but yeah,
No,
we
it's
have a great
good.
AI, our partner AI partners, X-Ray Labs, do phenomenal stuff with call analysis, business platform development, and our AI agents are already better. So just compare, shop around. Just before you use somebody else, give us a look. That's all. Shameless
Well,
plug.
I tell you, I would rather do the Wally option than the Space Odyssey option.
That's a valid point. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't do that, Dan. Anyway, all right. Well, just a reminder, all the resources and topics that we talked about today are going to be available on the podcast website. Just take a look at pnpindustryinsider.com. Take a look under show notes. We'll link up Voice for Pest as well as some of this information here on our voice agents. I say their voice agents. Also, we'll have some data up as we get it on the new conference that's coming out in December. And with that, we ask that if you have any positive vibes, please, like us on YouTube, however it is that you consume the content. And if you have complaints or you just generally want to, fuss with someone, Dan loves that kind of stuff. So make sure you reach out to him. He really enjoys it and appreciates those calls.
Put his cell phone number.
Exactly. And with that, we're going to sign off. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.